Well, hello and welcome to the Moto Mash, brought to you by the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. I'm your host, Harvey. With me, as usual, my two good pals, Michael and Paul. How are you doing today, lads?
Yo.
Hello there. Hello.
Shalom. No bad, no bad. Yay. How was your weekends?
Busy, hectic.
Busy, hectic. Oh God, it's not good. Weekends are usually supposed to be nice and relaxing now.
No, it was a good day yesterday. Just long and busy.
It's long.
Days
Is it Braehead you were away to?
Indeed, aye. Day out at Braehead shop.
Mm-hmm. Just
Way the way in Wales, so getting how that goes.
So aye, stopping everywhere then.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you, Paul? What was your weekend?
It was all right, aye.
Right.
I'm largely alone in the afternoon because all the kids were away to see the dance show that my stepdaughter was in. I then went there at night and what a hell of a laugh that was at certain stages. There is nothing funnier than an under fives dance troupe who are all doing something totally different on stage because they're all too young to follow direction.
They're all just doing their own thing.
Oh man, you three at the front bowing for the whole song. You had a couple doing aggressive karaoke. One found something in their nose and stared at it for the whole song. A few just fucked off. Oh, what a laugh, man. But that being said, a lot of the other kind of dance groups were awesome, man. It's good to see. My wee stepdaughter did absolutely fantastic. So she did. Very proud.
Oh, that's good. Oh, there you go. A proud stepdaddy.
Yeah, it was man. Absolutely.
Right. So I will just get into it then. So before we get on to the actual race, so have you seen? Well, I know you have because I sent the article. So Red Bull are pushing for Colton Herta, who currently races in IndyCar series.
Yep.
They're pushing for him to be handed a F1 license to drive for AlphaTauri next year, because they believe that Pierre Gasly is going to jump ship over to Alpine.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
Messed up in multiple levels.
Messed up in multiple levels. In what sense?
So one, you've got the direct sense where you've got a Formula One team pushing to bring in somebody that's not came through the qualifying system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for somebody that's a reasonably qualified and experienced driver being able to jump to, like, let's just say for talking sake, F2.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't need to, like, start for zero.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have to go through at least one season or whatever they decide at F2 to then be eligible for the F1 super license.
Mm-hmm.
I think trying to skip all of that is a kick in the teeth to anybody that's had to go the long route.
Yep.
I don't think it's right, even if the guy is massively talented. And I believe he previously did some testing with one of the teams, McLaren. Mercedes, one of them. McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren. Mm-hmm.
And did well from what I remember reading about. So it's no, he's not capable, but it's just the kind of practicality and the fairness aspect. You know, I mean, like the rules are in place for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is a wee bit more deeper, and it's that although AlphaTauri's like very closely related to Red Bull and they kind of sort of fall under the same banner of the kind of parent company of Red Bull and Red Bull Racing, it's messed up to me that it's the chief, the CEO, whatever his title is, a Red Bull, plus the principal for Red Bull, Christian Horner, the other two that's fighting the case to bring the guy in. It's no, the guy's directly at AlphaTauri that's pushing for the guy to come in. So that in itself is messed up, because basically what Red Bull's doing is they're seeing an opportunity. They're trying to force the hand of both AlphaTauri and of the FIA to bring this guy in that potentially is super talented and a superstar in terms of the racing world. They're trying to force everybody's hand so that they can bring him in, presumably do 1 to 2 seasons at AlphaTauri, and then when the time's right, possibly after just the 1 season, bring him up to be Verstappen's number 2. Or if Verstappen decides to take early retirement at some point, they've got like a kind of superstar driver ready to go.
Verstappen moves somewhere.
So I messed up. So I've got to say.
Well, the thing is though, I think this is where it gets weird. Because of COVID, right? He hasn't been able to acquire the amount of points that he would require to get the license. So there was some rules in the FIA saying that giving special dispensation for certain cases and stuff like that. So I think they'd gone along that route. I think what Red Bull are going to argue is something about if it wasn't in COVID and the point system didn't get messed up because of COVID, he would actually qualify for a license, a super license.
Right.
So, it's all a thing. They're pushing for him to come in to go to essentially what's the B team, the junior team, which again I don't agree with having a second team in F1. Like it's not fair because on multiple levels. They've got the cap in place and stuff, but essentially with AlphaTauri and Red Bull, they have 2 different sets of researchers, like R&D, right, to the R&D, right? But anything that's great will get shared between the 2 of them. Well, not necessarily the 2 of them, but usually if there's something that's great coming from the AlphaTauri side, that will get sent straight to the Red Bull team. Like, you know what I mean? So essentially they've got 2 sets of engineers and scientists and aerodynamicists and stuff to work on their car, which is it's no fair when you think about the small teams, like us, Alpine and them. So it's definitely no fair. I think, to be honest, sadly, I think this will get pushed through. We'll find some loophole to push it through, and I think it will actually be more to do with the owners of F1 now, like the Liberty Group. Is it the Liberty Group? Obviously, they're
American owners, isn't it?
Aye, so they're American. They want to build the sport in America. What better way to do that is take one of the top talents from IndyCar, have him in F1. Brings her back and straight away. It gets eyes on, it's aye. I mean, so I can't see anything else than him being. Well,
I was just going to say, obviously prior to you sharing that kind of information about this fella, I didn't really know anything about this guy, but I noticed that I think he's his dad, a famous IndyCar driver as well. Or is that how he's kind of got into the kind of game, Colton Herta?
Honestly, I don't know. It's either his dad on the team or he was a driver. I'm not too sure.
Oh no, his dad was an Andretti driver for a long time, and
right there you go.
I mean, I don't think he was. I think his son seems to be a little better driver. The thing that I didn't really realise, you're talking about like Red Bull are trying to force him in, but doing a wee bit of research here, it seems that Red Bull aren't even the first kind of team to try to get this boy across into F1.
So McLaren
and Sauber, Alfa Romeo as well. He'd actually tested for Alfa Romeo and set faster times than Kimi Räikkönen and Giovinazzi.
And McLaren.
So there's obviously talent there. Like,
I think
there obviously must be talent in the boy. Like, obviously you're saying he can't. He's probably going to get rejected for the super license. I think just on the grounds, like you say. But is it such a bad thing?
I come for the fairness standpoint. I get that he's cut his teeth elsewhere. He's got a certain amount of experience. He's definitely got talent. There's no question there. But
I mean, he's exactly what the F1 want. Like, he's a money driver with what appears to be talent. Like, he's coming with a huge, like a backing that probably no many racers could ever wish to have. Just about, like, all this kind of all this kind of support for America. His dad's a famous kind of driver as well. Like, he's got all this favour financially. Plus, he also appears to have quite a bit of talent. I mean, you can see why for F1 would be in the best interest to do what's best for business. Whether that's fair or no, I mean, it's no fair, no, I don't think, but money making business at the end of the day, lads, isn't
from
it?
a business standpoint, 100% it makes sense.
It's
The
a
guy's
win-win.
got a name in America. They're trying to expand in America. It's a win-win. But for the standpoint of young drivers trying to break through, like that's a seat that somebody that's done very well in F2 could have pushed for.
Aye.
But they're not going to get the opportunity. You know what I mean? That's a seat
That's
that
true.
somebody else in the Red Bull Driver Academy could have been potentially getting, but they're not going to get.
But then you
So
can,
that sort of thing.
but then you can look at it the other way, you know, when F1 drivers go the next route and go over that way, they're just getting in the seat because they've done well in F1.
I don't think that's
somebody
right.
who's-
Personally, there's
I've got
that
to
as
say,
well, of course, lads.
I've
you know
never
what I
really
mean?
spoke about
So-
that, but the likes of Alonso or Raikkonen or whoever
Raikkonen,
else jumping over into Rally or into IndyCar or into NASCAR, like, again, I mean, I don't follow any of them close enough to know what their kind of natural progression routes are. But for the information, for the understanding that I've got, and based on guys coming into Formula One, I don't think it's right that they should just go and jump straight into a seat in another sort of league, as it were. I feel like they should be going and qualifying. Like, fair enough, again, as I said, don't start for the bottom. Clearly that's not required. Like, they've got the skill and the experience, but
F2.
they shouldn't jump straight to the front of the queue either.
Aye. But then you can look at it for the team standpoint as well. Like, why should I take a driver for there when I can get somebody who's already better from over here?
Well, I mean, that's
You know
where
what I mean?
that's where the FIE need to lay out the rules, because obviously for the teams, for the business side, for the sport and success side, like, winning's everything. So obviously
Aye.
they're going to pick the very best driver they can get their hands on. So it's up to the FIA to control the talent pool in the fairest way possible.
Yep. Just to get, like, so obviously Andreas Seidel, I was the McLaren team principal when Hertha did testing for McLaren in July this year. Like, when asked about him, he said straight up, he's like, he's more than good enough to get a seat in F1. Like, he'll be a great driver. So, we'll see what happens there. But then the repercussions of all this is if so Pierre Gasly goes to Alpine, goes to AlphaTauri, then you have people like Mick Schumacher, who could have been in line to get a seat at one of the better teams. Now, where does he go? He doesn't have a place to go. He's got to stick with Haas, or does Haas even stick with him? That's the next thing. Do you know what I mean? Or, as you said, a younger talent like for F2 or the reserve driver. Could have been a mere shot and it's taken away, but well, they were supposed to make a decision. They were supposed to know about this if he was going to get granted this by today, but obviously not. We haven't heard anything, so probably another couple of days. But if he gets in, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of eyes on F1 coming from the American side, especially because he has a big following. It'll definitely be interesting to see if it does happen. But we're just going to wait and see if it happens or not.
Yep.
Interesting to see what happens, mate.
So, Ferrari, So Ferrari's not owner, sorry. He is the president, sorry, Ferrari's president, John Elkin. He was doing an interview with Gazzetta dello...
Italian.
Aye. He was doing an interview with Gazzetta dello Sport. So, whatever. I guess that's a sport.
Gazette in Italian,
in Italian, aye. The Sports Gazette. And they were asking, all the questions. They asked about Binotto, sorry. Binotto, sorry. What? When they come out my myth there? And Binotto and the team around him and stuff, and he said they're making too many mistakes, but we have great faith in them. And Binotto, so he's happy with him. There's not going to be any changes there. And he said that he is confident that Ferrari will win both the constructors and the drivers' championship before 2026.
Right.
That's a weird thing to say.
Before 2026?
Why before 26? Why not
4 years
next year? Or why not within the next couple of years? Like, that's weird.
The reliability issues, man, I think is what he's like, I will need to get them out of the way first.
That's how much faith he's got in them. Like, he reckons they need like 5 seasons to sort out the shit. That's weird.
Well, the biggest takeaway from that is that they're backing Mattia Binotto fully. So, wonder how much it would take to break the faith there. There's some questionable calls again this week. So let's get into Monza then, shall we?
Indeed.
Yeah. So there was in qualifying. Well, not in qualifying, but before qualifying, we found out in the practices. I think there was 6 drivers that were taking penalties, like red penalties, due to engine changes and stuff like that. So we had Hamilton was one of the biggest ones. Sainz, Bottas again,
Perez,
and Perez, Verstappen. All of them took penalties this week. Max Verstappen's was only 5 places. He just decided to give the field a heat start, I guess. That was his plan. Aye. He didn't want to be out in front the whole race this time.
Didn't it take him longer then?
No, it did not. Qualifying was actually interesting. Ferrari were faster than Red Bull. Obviously, Leclerc was faster than Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen finishing second. The Mercedes were looking good. Not rapid, but they were looking good. McLaren as well, and the Alpines. And then surprisingly, Nick de Vries, after
Albon.
Alex Albon.
Alex Albon had to sit out due to appendicitis, I believe it was.
Aye, that was reported, mate. Aye.
Mm-hmm.
That would have sucked.
Aye, so he got promoted for this race. So he did, and he did very well in qualifying. So he did. And then also in the race, what you want to do. Was there anything in qualifying that you wanted to talk about? No?
I feel like qualifying now, I feel like you know the outcome come Sunday. It's just a question of how much work does Max Verstappen need to do on Sunday at this point, at this rate.
Right.
However, do you see De Vries take his first weekend and really run with it. I mean, he's qualified well. He's then raced well to maintain his position. Like, fair play to the guy. Like, that's tremendous work for him. I mean, again, I don't know much about the guy. Obviously, I think he's a reserve. He's obviously been a reserve driver. Brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant to see that he's come in and he's arguably done better than the other permanent team member who's drove for Williams. He's outscored to go. So I mean, wow, very impressive. So he qualified in 13th.
13th, aye. So
the goat didn't get.
He was 3 places above. 3 places above his teammate, who's drove in F1 for a while. And this is his first in De Vries. This was his first proper drive in F1. So it was good to see, actually, what he was doing out there at the weekend before the race and then even during the race. So, Michael, did you have anything to add on qualifying?
Nah, I was... No. Because I was away shopping, I didn't get to...
Oh, you were shopping, that's right. Aye, sorry. So, before the race even kicked off, after qualifying, they asked Max Verstappen, a couple of questions, and he said, he was like, I have Ferrari are fast, like, not really worried about it. He's like, it's a race that we don't need to win, so I was fuck.
If you're that relaxed, then no wonder he's driving so well. Like, he's driving like a man that doesn't have pressure right now.
He was just so nonchalant. It's like, we don't need to win this race, so but we'll get out there and we'll try our best, but it's no pressure. I was like, oh, there you go. It's like he knows that it would. He would literally have to not finish every single race for them to even be in with a shot of winning. He's racing with any pressure on him right now.
He's driving with complete freedom, and it's not like last year where it's a dogfight between him and Hamilton, where any tiny mistake results in the other one gaining ground or potentially pulling ahead. Like it's a good place to be when you've got comfortably the best car, the most reliable car certainly, and you've got that driving talent to kind of back up. Like, it's an easy life at the top.
Sure is. he literally, I mean, you can see it in the way he's driving and stuff now. It's just like, there's no pressure on him.
Just
so
handles it, man. Doesn't matter what happens. He knows he's got the ability and the car to do what he needs to do on the weekend.
So the race kicks off. Leclerc is on softs, so Ferrari have went with this tactic where they've got to put Leclerc on softs and try and get him out as far in front of everybody as possible to open up a gap. When they pit, they'll be in a better place to get back in front. Spoiler alert, that didn't work out very well. So it was a great start. Russell actually had a brilliant start, got up right next to Leclerc, and then you just seen the speed of Ferrari shine through, because Russell was beside him, and then Leclerc was like, no. Once the Ferrari got up to speed, it just started pulling away. Like, God damn. That's like, he needed to have a really, really good start to get in front of him, so I couldn't get past him. But they get in the first corner, into the second one. Russell runs wide. He's on the radio straight away, saying Leclerc pushed him wide, but that's a lie. Fake news, bro. He put himself in a position where he wasn't supposed to be, and he ended up having to go off the track or scalp into Leclerc. So he chose the correct move, and that was to go off. K-Mag breaks at the first corner. Bottas hits him. Mick Schumacher then hits into Bottas, but there was no major damage, so that's all right. When I was watching, I was like, oh God, here we go, red flag straight away. But no. Aye. Max Verstappen, by the end of the first lap, had moved up 4 places. So he was third.
So that was just like eliminated, aye.
What is in that motor? Oh, and that's another thing that Max Verstappen said.
Just cut through the field in 1 lap, man.
He's such a liar. He was like, everybody else, they're so much faster than us. You know, that's why we've had to take this, the new components. We'll see what happens. Like, aye, right. You're not going to have the pace. I even said, like, I don't think we'll have the pace to keep up with them. Lies. Lies. Oh, man. Then takes him about the 5th lap to get behind Leclerc. So he takes Russell in the 5th lap. And then Perez, one of the strangest things I've seen. Perez, lap 8, goes in to put the hards on, but his brakes on fire. His front right brake.
Somebody explain that to me. What the hell happened there? Obviously, I'm listening to it at the time, so.
Mate, you're asking the wrong person because I don't know. I just see smoke coming for his front brake. I think he's came into the pit lane and he's braked really hard. All right, so the way that the Monza's, the pit entrance is just after this very quick section. So when they're coming in, they have to brake really hard as they're coming in rapid. So he's obviously been put on the brake quite a lot, and when they were pitting, the brake was on fire.
With the F1 cars, the way the brakes are cooled, it relies a lot on the aerodynamics of the car. So they need to be going fast to cool the brakes down. But of course, going fast and braking hard heats the brakes up. So it's this like never-ending lose-lose cycle. And then as Harvey says, the pit entry, it's a short entry and it's coming off a high-speed section. So they're hard on the brakes coming in. So if your brakes are already running warm, you hit that, you're not going to cool them down. And then once you're sitting stationary to get your tyres changed, they're only getting warmer. Because you can't cool them back down.
You can't cool them down.
The radio exchange when this was going on, where they're just calmly like, right, Perez, if you just switch to this should make it fine.
So what they've done is they switched.
A car that's literally got flames on it. Right, just done this wee switch. That should be done. You worry.
They pushed some of the braking power to the back. Wait, was it the front that was on fire or the back?
I think it was one of these front brakes, wasn't it?
Front.
It was the front. So they put me in the braking pressure on the back. So they eased off the front just so they could try and cool it down and not have enough as much braking power in the front. But I was like, this is only lap 8. Like, what's going on here? Usually you'd get this like, further down in the race, like, kind of thing. But no. Yeah, lap 8. And then Sainz, he was having a nice race as well. I think lap 10, he went in. He didn't go in, sorry. He passed Alonso to get into 7th place. And he started 18th. So he was having a really, really good race. Obviously, we had the safety car, the first safety car come in. No, sorry, not safety car. It was a virtual safety car. Lap 10, 11, I believe. And you hear Red Bull's strategy is whatever Leclerc does, we do the opposite. So if he goes into the pits, we keep going. If he keeps going, we go into the pits. So it's just like a tit for tat, tactic. It's like we'll do the opposite to see. Obviously, Leclerc goes in, he puts on mediums, and everybody is like, that's a bit strange. So they look like they were going to try a really long stint on the mediums or a 2-stopper, which
is dumb, because if you're going to stop, you still went soft. Make up the ground that you've just lost against Verstappen. Put your foot down, wait for your opportune time, come in, switch to mediums, go to the end.
Exactly.
Nah,
it just
Ferrari don't follow logic.
No, they just, aye. You go.
There was a funny theme. There was a funny theme through Ferrari for both Leclerc and Sainz, where
they kept asking them what they wanted to do.
So, because the strategists have been getting a bit of flack, it would seem, over the last few weeks, because they've been, well, shite and not had much in the way of strategy. Ferrari have tried this new method of consulting the drivers mid-race of what they think and getting their opinion on the strategies.
Right.
So
you see, the thing is, right, I wouldn't have a problem with that if that was how it was from the start of the season, right?
If they had a system in place.
Do you know what I mean? But it's got to the point where, like, yous are fucking up too much. We've got to ask them if that's what they want to do. It's just like, oh my God.
So, do you think there has been like a meeting where this is the new plan, though? Do you think that's what's happened? So the drivers have put forward the idea that you need to consult us with your plans?
I don't know if the drivers have said that,
but
because I think that they would rather. I think that, to be honest, I think the drivers would rather just get told when to come in.
See, that's
than
what
having to think.
That's
about
what I was going to put
like,
to you, lads. Like,
do you know?
Surely that's not their role to be managing what they're doing through a race. They've got to trust.
They've got enough to do.
The experts, like I would have thought.
Case in point is Leclerc with that first stop where they've decided he's coming in, right? So he's got like 20 seconds or so until he hits the pit lane, and they're on the radio saying to him, right, we're going with plan B or whatever it was at that time, plan B or C.
Aye.
What do you think? So basically they're asking him, what tyre do you want to put on the now? And this is the strategy that kind of like, so this, if we go with this strategy, that means you get this tyre now and that shoe until whatever. So basically what they were asking him was, if we put you in medium, can you get to the end of the race, right? Reading between the lines, that's what it seems like they were doing. So this is lap 12, he's coming in, and Leclerc, while driving at God knows what speed, has got to do some maths in his head and think, is that feasible? Like, that's not right. And then his reply was, I think it'll be tight, but it should be all right. What?
Exactly.
What kind of decision making is that? So then Ferrari are like, well, you're the boss.
Boss man says so.
Ridiculous, man.
It is ridiculous. When you think that way, like if you think about everything that they've got to think about as a driver, right? Going 130 plus for most of the days, right? They've got to know what's happening around about them, so they've got to be checking the surroundings constantly. You know, they've got to be thinking about the racing line they're on, watching the tyres, like the temperature of the tyres. They've got to watch the wear on the tyres. They've got to figure out the differentials for each individual corner. They're doing this through the race. They change the diff all the time.
Yep.
Like folk think they go out and just once the car's set up, that's it. But if you look at the steering wheel, they're constantly shifting on the steering wheel because they're changing different things. Do you know? So they've got so much to think about, and then they've got to think about what tyres I'm putting on. Like, will that last me to the end of the race or whatever? Do you know? As I say, if it was something for the start of the season and the drivers were happy to do it, then fair enough. But in the middle of the season, just like, fuck it, we're just going to save face here and just try and make it, you know, some of the responsibility of the driver and all. Like,
I've got this thing in my head, right? It's probably not what happened, but I've just got this scene playing in my head where it was like a meeting after the last couple of weeks, and then Binotto just like being a child and taking the huff has been like, well, do you know what? See, next week we'll just ask you guys, because like the drivers have been kicking up about the strategies, and then he's like, do you know what? We'll just ask you guys, right? Engineers will get in the radio and they'll just ask you what yous want to do, and yous tell us what yous want us to do, and we'll just get on like that.
That would be hilarious.
and Leclerc and Sainz are just sitting like head in hand, just going, "Oh my Christ, what have I signed up for?"
Like the Italian mannerisms and that going through. Oh, brilliant! Be a flying the wall here. Aye, I don't know whose idea it was, but that's pretty funny if that did happen, Mick. Probably did actually go down some way like that. By the way, you might not be far for the truth. Aye, so just sticking with Ferrari and Leclerc actually. After the virtual safety car, like 5 or 6 laps later, they got on the radio to Leclerc and told him, "Don't short shift."
No.
Right? And Leclerc says, "I can't no do that." Like, you just make sure the engine's all right. I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's crazy. I mean, if you don't know what short shifting is, that's where you shift the car very quickly, so you don't let the RPMs go all the way up before you shift to your next gear. It's a quick whoops. Oh, hear me, I'm trying to do car noise now. But,
Lovely car noises.
I like Need for Speed.
So what you're saying is it's not letting the engine stretch out inside its gear you've currently selected. Like, it's not going its full range.
It's not going its full, no.
Such.
No. But, for instance, like, you're supposed to change it at 6,000 RPMs. You change it at 4. Doesn't you know what I mean? Short shifted before its time. Aye. Probably even before that, but aye. So I thought that was interesting itself to hear that, and then to hear him saying, no, you just make sure the engine's all right. Like, okay then. Like, I don't know what was going on there, but why? Russell goes in for his hards on lap 24. 4 laps later, he's on the radio saying he's struggling for grip on the hards. Like, he can't get grip. But he's going faster and he's gaining ground. So they're like, oh, don't know what to tell you because you're getting grip and you're going fast. So, but he was on the radio complaining. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it's like to drive an F1 car. Do you know what I mean? So obviously he's feeling something, but it's strange that he was actually going faster and gaining ground and have no grip. It's strange. But obviously there was something there, but Mercedes told him to stay out, obviously. By this point, Max was lap 26, he came in. So they're doing the one stop, like most people were. So he had sauce on, comes in lap 26, puts the medium on for the rest of the race. And when he comes out, he was 10 seconds, 10.9 seconds behind Leclerc. Lap 30, he was 7 seconds behind Leclerc. So he was flying on them. He was catching him super, super quick. And Ferrari they didn't know what to do. They were just like, what do we do?
They started their usual game of plan, fucking alphabet soup table tennis, where they just chuck plans about. Plan B, no. I think of plan C. How do you feel about plan D? Plan Z's looking good now.
What about plan 12?
And then I think they came on it finally and said, like, we're going with plan C. Like, okay. So then three laps later, he comes in for the softs to try and I don't know what they're trying to do there, putting him on the softs. I think he's got 18 laps left for there on the softs. So I guess they were saying get on the softs and go chase down Max, but at that point it was a lost cause, man. It was like, so lap 33 comes in for the softs. On lap 36, it turns out that for Leclerc to catch Verstappen, and it will take him, he needs to be faster than him 1 second a lap. He has to be a second faster each lap. And aye, that wasn't happening. It was just crazy. It's crazy.
Just a lack of good strategy again.
Aye.
For Ferrari, like,
Why?
I mean, like, it's not as if like they weren't running faster than the Red Bulls to a point where it was like, how the hell did they not win that? Like, once race day came, Verstappen was as fast as he's been, but they were very competitive, and at points through the weekend they had the faster car. And if they had went in, and obviously because of the penalties and whatnot, Leclerc started at the front, so if they had went into that with a good enough strategy, they would have legitimately been fighting for the lead. And obviously, Leclerc came second, so he was technically fighting for the lead and he was up there, but that was the close.
No.
That was nowhere near close, and it was purely because of bad strategy.
Aye, bad strategy all the way. They could have been in a completely different place if they had did soft onto sauce. In fact, do you know what? Seeing that situation under the virtual safety car, I think they made a mess there too. I think they went with the wrong strategy. I don't think he should have came in at that point because the tyres were still good.
Aye.
They would have been good for another 12 to 15 laps. But they've just said, oh, we can get a cheap pit stop here and come out in front still with fresher tyres on. That's all great and well, but you don't need to. Like, you have the lead.
Yep.
And it was a substantial lead at that point. The tyres were still good. Stay out. Like, that's what they should have done, but they didn't. So, I mean, that's on them. Then at the end, I'll let talk about De Vries in a second, but so when the lap 48, when Ricardo breaks down, and it's Ricardo. What did I say? Ricardo, didn't I? Aye, God damn it.
No,
Ricardo. Do you know what? I'm sure I've said that before as well.
He looks remarkably like Daniel Ricciardo as well, this Ricciardo.
Oh, God. I said Ricardo, then Ricardo. Anyway, he breaks down, so the safety car, we get an absolute pish ending. I mean,
Aye, pish ending would be a good way to describe it, unfortunately.
pish ending in the sense of
Anticlimactic.
We didn't see any racing. We see.
I mean, it would. To be honest, if that safety car never happened, Max Verstappen still wins, obviously, by a long margin. But it would have been good to seen it red flagged and start again. Which I think they could have had grounds to, because they had to bring a piece of machinery on to move the car, like actually come across the track. So, in my eyes, I think they should have red flagged it.
Surely if something's on the track that shouldn't usually be, that's a red flag. Aye.
Not just for the fact that it would have made a good ending, but because this big heavy piece of machinery is coming onto the track, I think they should have, at any point in the race, they should have actually, take out it was the end. They should have red flagged that to have that come on and move it, but they didn't, for whatever reason. I mean, that's on them. And then it just led to ending behind the safety car, which, by the way, the crowd were booing at that end. The whole crowd was just booing.
Yeah, of course, it's like Ferrari, a Ferrari crowd, and a Ferrari can't get finished in the race in a racing kind of setting. Aye.
They weren't even booing Max Verstappen. That's the thing. It's not because Ferrari didn't win. They were booing because the bloody ended the way it ended. I don't know. Do you think it could have been red? It should have or could have been red flagged? What do you think about that whole situation?
I don't think it should have been red flagged, but I think there was at least an argument for red flagging it because they brought the forklift thing out.
Aye.
You could, because of that, like foreign vehicle or whatever technical term you want to use, that there was something on the track that shouldn't have been, that if crashed into would have been a bloody disaster. So that you know that is cause for a red flag, but obviously they felt that there was enough room, like it's quite a wide section of track. They felt there was enough room there that with the safety car out there leading the pack, they could control the speed enough, and if everybody is sort of aware that they can't be bobbing and weaving, try to heat their tyres up at that particular point, and they need to fall in line behind the safety car, then technically it's safe enough. And I think, see, the thing with a safety car is that more often than no, it's out for long enough that all the cars get bunched up. So then when you restart the race, you do like a rolling start after the safety car, there's this opportunity to have kind of dramatic overtakes. But what it doesn't do is affect like the length of the race or anything. Well, to be fair, it'll make the race slightly longer because they're going a bit slower for however long the safety cars are. But, you know, much for muchness, they're going to finish same sort of time, same sort of laps, etc. And you've just got this wee tiny bit of added drama. More often than not, it doesn't make that much difference other than create a bit of tension and drama. If you red flag it, then you need to decide, is it then standing start, or are you
rolling start,
having the safety car bring them out for the pit and doing a rolling start? How are you working that? How are you making it as fair as possible? And I think when there's so few laps left, the discussion's just not worth it in that particular situation. I think you just go with safety car, and if you can clear everything quick enough and get a lap or two in, great. If no, c'est la vie.
Fair enough. I think, well, aye. For me, I would have rather that it be red flagged. Just the machinery and that, and for the added bit of drama at the end. Who doesn't like a bit of drama in the right circumstances?
Fuck aye.
It was a good race. So De Vries had a very good race. Nick De Vries had a very good race. He's the 67th driver to score points in his debut in Formula One. Here's something for you. Nick De Vries has spent more laps in 9th place and above in one race than Latifi has the whole year. What does that say? Tell you?
The goat said bad luck.
That's quite damning.
Bad luck can still be the goat.
It's pretty damning, is it not?
Yeah. That's not great.
It's one of your big arguments against money drivers who come in due to the fact that they come with monstrous financial backing. Sometimes they can be bad examples of drivers in motorsport. I mean, there's been plenty of successful money drivers in the past, but unfortunately...
Nicky Lauda.
James Hunt as well, I believe, as you know. He came in with a lot of money. Pretty much bought himself in, I think, didn't he? I think he came from a very wealthy family, I'm sure.
I don't know. I know Nicky Lauda was one.
Lauda certainly, anyway. But it's a funny sport, more F1 for me, like, as far as motorsport goes. This kind of mad world where buying yourself into the sport is equally just about as important as talent. Like, you need backing, like, just as much as you need the talent. Like, there's no... it's not just all about the talent. Like, you could be great, but if your face does not fit as far as sponsorships and sort of backing goes, you'll probably never reach the top. Like, you need to be very fortunate. It's funny that way, certainly.
It's very politicky and cliquey. You either need to have the in, like you need to get signed to one of the driver academies, and then you need to be very marketable and stuff and give them a reason to want to push you, or you need to have somebody in the inside with a lot of money and influence to get you in. It's really the only two ways to get in.
It's and you're hoping somebody rich really likes the cut of your jib and offers to sponsor you forward, so and so forth. Like, it's a funny old game. It really is. In that sense.
It is indeed. Aye. Most F1 drivers come from money, to be honest.
There's very few that are out there building their own cars the way Michael Schumacher's dad was.
There's an unfortunate irony in Formula One that it's quite a working class sport in the sense of the fans, the viewership. It's really common for sort of working class people to want to sit either in the pub or at home and watch the racing and have a pint or a bottle of beer or whatever their fancy is, and they get like properly into it. Like you go in like the Facebook groups and all that sort of stuff. Like the arguments that people have, man, they get so behind their teams and their drivers. But yet, the actual sport itself, the money involved, it's such a first class, first world thing. You know what I mean? Like the amount of money that's in it in terms of sponsorships and all the rest of it, plus like the amount of money that you need to, like, if you're going to buy yourself in, if you're going to like put money into a team to get you or your son or your whatever a seat, like crazy amounts of money getting flung about.
Aye, definitely is.
I have a question, lads.
Ask away.
So, I've been thinking about this the past few weeks because we're coming. There's a kind of common theme on the podcast, certainly, which is we watch a race, we then dig out Ferrari for about 20 minutes of the podcast. Is it that they're doing so bad, or is it that they have pretty much a cheat code that is winning the Drivers' Championship this year? Like, would anybody not be floundering against Max Verstappen this year?
I'd say that.
Like, he is in such an insurmountable lead. Are we maybe not giving enough respect to that?
No, I think no, because the car was unreliable at first and then tactics. Right? If it was just for sheer driving ability and none of it, and the car was reliable all the way through and didn't fuck up on the tactics, the strategies, then I think he would be right. They'd be right up there. Yes, obviously Max Verstappen and Red Bull still command respect. Reigning world champion. He's a very talented driver, but if Ferrari had their shit together, it would still be quite close, in my opinion.
Right, Ferrari should have won the first like 7 or 8. Ferrari should have won 7 or 8 of the first 10 races.
Yeah.
Based on the car that they came into the championship with. They severely let themselves down in terms of reliability, first of all, and then in terms of their just clownishness. I think that there is something to your point, Paul, and that they get it a bit sorer now because Red Bull and Max Verstappen in particular is just so far ahead that it just amplifies how stupid they look when they're making these silly mistakes. But then you have weekends like this weekend at Monza where you look at qualifying, you're thinking, how is Leclerc not winning races? Like,
that's also true.
On the right track, they still have the car to beat, but yet they keep continuing to get beat because they level the playing field. They level the playing field by themselves, making the mistakes, making bad strategy moves or having no strategy, and then Red Bull and Verstappen just keep pulling out like close to perfect races, and they're just running away with it. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where you're coming from with the point, but I think
I
ultimately,
just wanted
if
to play a wee bit
Ferrari,
of devil's advocate with it, like,
if Ferrari gave an honest account of themselves, it would be so much closer. There should have been a lot of pressure on Red Bull and on Max Verstappen in particular. We're having to try and defend the title and having to sort of almost fight by himself at times because Perez is dropping off the map in some of the races. But yeah, Ferrari just keep tripping themselves up, and so Verstappen hasn't had the pressure on him, and he's been able to settle in with the best car in the grid for most of the weekends.
I found that
run away with it.
Interesting what Harvey was saying, where Max was kind of publicly saying that he felt that his car wasn't as fast as other cars. Like when they took their engine permit, obviously to use another part of it. Obviously with the rules, you're not meant to do that. It reminded me of The Last Dance, and I'm not saying he's like Jordan, right? But I'm saying personality-wise, where Michael Jordan used to get into games making up reasons to dislike opponents so that it would motivate him more. So he's out there to the press giving it the kind of talk like, oh, I mean, we're just not as fast as we should be, and other cars are faster than us. It's something that the best kind of do to motivate themselves in situations where I think if you ask him in a very honest kind of setting, he knows that this is wrapped up now. But he's still trying to find reasons to kind of keep himself sort of firing, if you know what I mean, to chase, obviously, this kind of record season, which is, I mean, that's what he's, by all accounts, that's what's coming, effectively, here, is a record season. I think next week, Leclerc has to finish above 7th if Max wins. In a few weeks' time. But I think it's literally on the next race. It could be done by. Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
So Verstappen needs to win the race. Leclerc finishes 9th or lower.
Is it 9th or lower? I thought it was 7th or lower.
Aye, 9th. No. Sorry, that's a lie. It might be 7. I think if he finishes second, then Leclerc has to finish 9th or lower. Something like that, but pretty much aye. If Leclerc finishes low down in the points, if Verstappen wins the race, he wins.
Aye.
Which is it's very possible. The only problem is, I think, is where Perez finishes. I think if Perez finishes like second or third, he will only win because Perez is still there, even though realistically, mathematically, yes, it's achievable, but realistically, no, probably not.
Right, okay.
So, aye. So it depends on Leclerc, Perez, and Russell. Those 3. And obviously Verstappen. Verstappen needs to win, and then depending on their positions. Yeah. Wow. But aye, you're right. Could definitely be over. And aye, it definitely looks like he's going to get that record for most wins in a season. So, aye. I mean, hopefully next year everything plays out like how the first stint of this season started. When it was back and forth with Red Bull and Ferrari, and then but next year hopefully it's Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and all 3 of them are fighting it. 6 drivers, all duking it out. Like, that would be brilliant to see. That I would love to see. It'd be great for the sport as well. Yeah. So in a couple of weeks at Singapore, as you said there, Paul, Verstappen can win. this track should suit Ferrari, so you would be thinking Ferrari here for the win, but we've seen that car that Red Bull have, that Max Verstappen has anyway, just rapido. So it is. So I can't really say with confidence that Ferrari will be in with the best shot of winning here. I have to say Red Bull look like the team to beat again, as they have done for most of this season.
Aye, I think that's safe to say, mate. I mean, I fully expect a Verstappen win at this point. That's what's happened. That's what's been happening.
Fair enough. I mean, between now and then, between now and then, all the teams could bring upgrades, to certain parts. So you could see Mercedes in and about there, keeping up with them,
I think
making
this track
things
will
difficult
favour
for
them as
everybody.
well.
So you never know. Maybe if I can hassle win.
Very much doubt that.
Get this. I'll just put NOS in the car.
It's one thing you've definitely noticed week upon week upon week is the absolute chasm of bloody funding between the top 5 teams.
Yeah.
And the bottom 5 teams. Like, it is a guarantee that it's going to be drivers from the top 5 teams just about every week in that top 10, and then it's scraps that maybe Alfa Romeo or Haas or Williams or Christ, even Alpha Tauri at this rate, like, they're just nowhere near what even the likes of McLaren or Alpine can really achieve as far as kind of reliability and speed. Like, as it's wore on this year, certainly.
Aye, definitely can see. I know we had at the start there, we had some confidence here and we Haas in some of their performances. We were like, oh, boy. We should have seen it coming, to be honest. I mean, I think
dropped
we did,
off a cliff.
We just didn't really able to take much. We said before, in fact, Michael, you said that you'll see later on with the differences with the finances and stuff. Like you'll see the difference later on. And we have it. It does show, even with the cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the salary cap. Aye. So,
see, just before we can start finishing up,
right.
what do you think of the way they're handling the engine penalties and the engine components, or whatever you want to term it? Like, so obviously that's the last couple of races and 4-ish races in total this season so far. It's had a big effect in terms of starting positions, less so in finishing positions, but big effect on starting positions where guys are getting flung to the back because they're taking new engines on or they're taking new components thereof. Do you think there's a better way to do it?
I don't know, man. I mean, you can make the argument that, well, the components failed, it's not the driver's fault. Why is the driver getting punished? But then, especially if it's a small team, if you go along the route of financial repercussions, then that's not going to help them at all. That's going to make things even worse for them. So
I believe the original idea of bringing it in was so that it didn't financially impact the small teams. So that rather than fining them or whatever, it was just this thing of, well, we'll give your driver a grid penalty. That's like the most fair. That's the most fair way they could do it. But I wonder if there's another way.
I don't know if a grid penalty is maybe right. Maybe they should do it as like a time penalty. Like, say 10 seconds or whatever, but you don't have to, so it doesn't come off the qualifying or whatever. You can qualify just regularly, right? You can do that. But at some point during the race, you have to take your time penalty. So you go into the pits. At one of your pit stops, you have to stop for the 10 seconds or whatever after your pit. But, I mean, again, that would favour the big teams because, they'd be so far in the front. You know what I mean? I don't know. But you know what's funny, right? I hope it was a typo. But it said that Carlos Sainz had a 25 grid place penalty. A 25 place penalty on the grid.
That can't be right.
I was like, I was like, I don't know about that. It's like to the back of the grid, maybe 20, I don't know. I was like,
where do you want him to start?
You know, there's only 20 cars. Why is that wall open? Oh, that's where Sainz is going to come through, pal. He's coming through for the field over there. But I don't know. Like, it's one of them. I don't have an answer for, really.
Holy shit!
To be honest, I mean, what about you? Do you think you have a?
Me?
Like,
oh no, I've not got the answer, man. I do wonder if they need to rethink the whole kind of structure of it, and like maybe there should just be a rule that they can't replace their engines, and then so if an engine fails, if an engine fails,
you're out for the season.
No, not so much that, but like
retire the motor.
The only way they can swap the engine is if it fails during competition, whether it's qualifying race, practice, free practice, whatever, or there's some sort of test that they do at the start of every race weekend or at the end of every race weekend, and if it fails the test, then the engine gets binned. But then, like, rather than replacing this component or doing it like that's it goes in the recycle bin. And then they install a new one, and then they're only allowed a maximum allotment of 3 or 4 or whatever it is. And then once they've used up their maximal allotment, then they've got the choice of cobbling together an engine out of the parts for all the engines that's died, or taking a massive time penalty or grid penalty or whatever to get like a bonus engine. I don't know.
Aye.
But basically, I don't think there's any easy answer. But what they're doing now isn't working.
I'll take 2 fingers if you give me a Oh God. Aye. Who knows? I would definitely have to sit and think for a while about that and try and figure out a way that's weird. Aye. Difficult one. But anyway, on that note,
final thing, right? Sorry, I'm doing it again, right? But
final thing on that note, Michael's final thought
for the Haas fans, a glimmer of hope for the Singapore Grand Prix. The current 1 lap record is held by Kevin Magnussen from 2018.
Booyah! And the
Haas are coming in hot.
Here we go.
In a very different Haas.
Here we go. Oh man. Right. On that note, we'll love yous and leave yous. Please remember to check out the AEW Mash and the MMA Mash. They come out on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. Again, both very good podcasts. MMA, we talked about Big Ramy that happened, so it's very, very exciting. Exciting times at UFC. And AEW, I'll get in, talk about the aftermath of the nuclear bomb that got dropped on AEW, so check them out.
Not a literal one.
I know a literal one, so don't panic. So, Tattie by Driver.
Come on, Drew.
Cheers.